Head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about the Browns defense.
How y'all doing? This E.T. calling again. Fresh off a win over Pittsburgh, the defense still got to play a little bit better. I didn't like the way they was playing. They wouldn't get not that much pressure on Trubisky. And the special teams, man, they got to be running some laps, man. Special teams got to get together. Overall, we got the dub. We just moving on to Atlanta. Let's not take Atlanta for granted like we did the Jets. Let's get this dub and move on 3-1. Anthony Walker get healthy. We lost him for the season. Hope he get well soon. Overall, I'm kind of more optimistic going further in the season. Do you guys think that this team could be like the Philadelphia Eagles were, just reversed? Let's have our backup quarterback carry us to some good wins and then turn over to our starting quarterback and possibly go on a Super Bowl run. I'm not predicting the Super Bowl, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. This NFL, every game is sudden death. Every game is game 7.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. Yeah, G. Bush, Deshaun Watson will bring a different dynamic, but the thing that I like that he said, you can't overlook the Falcons. You got Mariota. We've talked about him. He's kind of mobile, can be a threat. Pitts and Drake London are big targets, and Cordell Patterson is a guy that is creating all kinds of issues running the football.
Yeah, Cordell Patterson is just, I'll give him credit. I will give Atlanta credit, and I'll give I think the Vikings before him. How many times have you seen a guy and a coach just can't really get him the football, right? You can't really, so what do? You put him at kickoff. You could put him at punt return. And so Cordell Patterson was one of the better, kick returner, punt returners in this league. And then somebody had a bright idea. Say, listen, if he can find gaps and spaces and have the reaction time enough to move and elude defenders, running at that high of a pace on kickoffs and punt returns, why don't we throw him in the backfield, right? And he doesn't fit the mold of a traditional running back. He's tall. He looks like a receiver. He has the body type of a receiver. But now that he has now got enough carries and touches, you can kind of see how he's fitting back into that mold. He's actually more comfortable running the football, and I think he's having his best year as a pro. You take a look at some of the cuts he's making. His vision has gotten better. Obviously, he can still catch the ball out of the backfield. But if you add that with Kyle Pitts, who is probably one of them, I'd say the most athletic tight end, running 4-4 playing tight end. He's more of a glorified receiver, mismatch that he can play with. And then the kid Drake London out of USC is he just keeps progressing. They're throwing him the ball more. He scored against Seattle. So he's a guy that they're really looking to target. So they look like they have a couple of things here. They have some opportunities and ways that they can score the football. And unfortunately for the Browns, their defense is probably one of the things that we would say point to, especially getting pressure and busting in the back end. Those are things that we worry about the most. So if you're going into that dome, you're going into the on that turf, a lot of things can happen. I think the Browns need to worry about and concentrate on some of those weapons that they have because they can put points on the board.
Yeah, and to your point about Cordell Patterson, this is from Pro Football Reference. Most rushing yards through week 3. Nick Chubb is number 1 at 341. Cordell Patterson is number 2 at 302, ahead of Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and Lamar Jackson. But that's how good he is. And you touch on it. He runs upright, but you end up looking at it, and he ends up 100 yards, and he usually finds the end zone.
That's I think that's that's a compliment to their coaching staff. Like, how many coaches would overthink stuff? Like, we can't put him in at running back. Come on, that doesn't make sense. Come on, you guys are crazy. I always commend coaches who are innovative. They take what they have. They take the ingredients that they have in the kitchen and they use it to their best to make the best meal that they can. You may not have all of the USDA prime beef. You may not have that. You may not have a bunch of other things, but what you do have is you can take some canned goods and some meat, and if you cook it right and put it in a crock pot long enough, you'll get something. And for with the Falcons, I think they've matriculated and they've kind of rotated some things and they found something and they just continue to go to it. I do think the Browns will have a better opportunity to corral him, given the fact that they do have guys that can get up, especially if they can get Clowney back. One thing that the Browns has is a lot of speed. You look at Phillips, who is going to take over as the signal caller for Anthony Walker, who has a lot of speed. He had a great game last week. JOK, he has a growing injury, but when he gets back, he was grading as one of the best linebackers and has that level of speed as well. So, the Browns have what it takes to combat it. It's just all about being on the same page, making sure that you can tackle these guys, get them down, and then turn the ball over to the offense because, defensively, I don't think they can have anything for Chubb and Hunt. I don't think they ain't got nothing for that.
Yeah.